Hey, what's up guys? This video is for the test review for chapter 1. You guys will have a test and this review is very similar to the test, so you guys know how to do every single question. You guys are able to get an A on the test. So let's look at question number 1. In question number 1, you want to evaluate, which means you guys want to find the value. You guys have the expression with the numbers here. You guys don't have any variables in the expression. You just want to evaluate. So one thing you guys can use is a calculator, scientific calculator, or you guys can use the order of operations. But let's go ahead and use a calculator. So when you guys use the calculator, just make sure that you check and understand what is the expression. So I'm just going to put the expression in the calculator. I'm going to have 24 divided by 3. Now the scientific calculator for decimals, it will make a fraction, so make sure you guys move the cursor to the right side of the fraction to put everything else. You multiply by 2 and then you guys subtract by 3 and it has a square. So the answer is there. I'm just going to write down 7 for number 1. Number 2 is a little bit longer. You guys have parentheses and you guys have brackets, but same thing. You guys can use the calculator to have the parentheses. You're not going to use brackets in the calculator. You're just going to use more parentheses. But you start with the 3 outside of the parentheses. Notice I open a parentheses. I have the 4 with the square plus the parentheses. 36 divided by 4. Notice it makes a fraction. So make sure you guys move the cursor to the right side of the fraction. And you guys close parentheses and close parentheses. So for this expression, the answer is 75. Number 3, same thing. You guys can use the calculator. So I'm going to start with the 5, the parentheses, 2 plus 6, and you guys close the parentheses, minus the 7 times the 3, and we get 19 for number 3. Number 4, you guys have a fraction. The numerator has an expression with parentheses and a square. And the denominator, you guys don't have parentheses, but you do have a square. You have an exponent. So when you guys use the calculator, you can start by making a fraction. You just press the division, or you guys can press the A over B button. So division will make a fraction, same thing. But on the top, make sure you guys type what you guys see in the problem. So you multiply parentheses, 3 times 2, close parentheses with the square, and then you guys add 4. You click on the bottom of the fraction and then you guys input the 5 squared minus the 5 and the answer is positive 2. So number 4 is 2. Alright, number 5, 6, and 7 is a little bit different. You guys can use the calculator, but first we need to substitute the values that are given to us. So on the top it says evaluate the expression when A equals 14. So let me just underline that value. Then we have B equals 8 and we have C equals 2. So when you guys look at the expression, let's look at question number 5. We do have 2 times the quantity of A minus B with the squared minus the C. So the first step, the very first step is for you guys to substitute the values into the corresponding variable. And then you guys can use the calculator. So I'll do that right now. I'm going to start with the 2. I'll do it on the side. Let me just put an arrow here so you guys can follow. I'm going to start with the 2 parentheses and then the A will be parentheses. So this A, I'm going to make it parentheses and then I have a minus B, make that a parentheses, close the parentheses with the square, minus the 5 and then the C becomes parentheses. So now I am ready to substitute the values into the parentheses. So be careful when you guys look at the variables. A is first. So I'm going to substitute a 14 into the first parentheses and then minus the B, which is an 8. And at the end, we have a 5 times a C and C equals 2. So you guys are going to use the calculator and you're going to input all this expression in the calculator. So in the calculator, just like you see it guys, you have a 2, you input everything, you type in everything, parentheses, another parentheses, 14, close the parentheses, minus parentheses, the 8, close parentheses with the squared, and we have the minus 5, open parentheses with the 2. So the answer is 62. So I'm going to write it down. So this equals 62. Let me just move the calculator down. And number 5 is 62. Number 6, same thing. You guys are going to substitute. So you guys take the A value, the B, and the C. But be careful where you guys substitute. Because number 6, you guys have 2 times C times the quantity of A plus B. So first, let's go ahead and make those parentheses. So I'm going to have the 2 here, parentheses, that's going to be your C value, times parentheses, A, another parentheses, plus B, which is another parentheses, and you guys have the big parentheses right there. So be careful, again, next to the 2, we have the C value, so my C value will be 2, so you guys substitute a 2 in that parentheses, and then you guys have the A, so A is 14, and B will be 8, so you guys have 8 at the end. You guys take the calculator out, and you guys are going to use the calculator to find the answer. And in the calculator, just put 2 parentheses, 2 close parentheses, you open another parentheses. Now the 14 also has parentheses, so we use another parentheses, 14 plus 8. And the rest of the expression, you guys are going to have the 8. So we use parentheses 8, close parentheses, and the answer is 88. So let me just write that down. Let me move this. And 88 is for number 6. Number 7, you guys do have a fraction, but we have to be careful where you guys are going to substitute the values. So I'm going to have my parentheses first of all. So here's the fraction line right there. And then you guys have the 2 on the top, parentheses with an exponent of 3, minus A, another parentheses, times the B. You guys are going to use another parentheses. And the bottom is just the number 4. So looking at the value of C on your paper, you guys can see that C equals 2. So I am going to substitute the value of 2 here. So 2 goes in the first parentheses, and then you guys have the A, which is 14, so I'm going to put a 14 here, and B is 8, so you guys have an 8. Using the calculator, you guys are going to input all of that, so let me just get the calculator here, and you guys will have a fraction, so let me make a fraction right there. On the top, you have a 2, parentheses, 2, and then you guys are going to use the button. This button right here that has the little b as an exponent, that's going to help you guys put the exponent of 3. So you guys have an exponent of 3. Let me just go back to the 2 right there. So I'm going to have exponent of 3, and then you guys bring down the cursor. Remember to bring down the cursor. Minus the 14, parentheses 14, and you close parentheses, open another parentheses 8. And on the bottom, you guys have a 4. So every time you guys have that fraction, make sure you guys pay attention where you put the numbers and check that everything looks the same in the calculator. So the answer will be negative 24. So number 8, now we're going to combine like terms. It says you guys want to simplify the expression. So when you guys want to simplify, combining like terms is you are looking for the numbers that have the same variables, and the variables have the same exponents. So number 8, we have a 10b with the squared, and you're adding plus 21b with the squared. Those are like terms. Yes, they are, because they both have a b with a squared. So all we have to do is combine the numbers. So you guys look at the 10 and the positive 21. 10 plus 21, and that's going to be 31, and you keep the variable b with the exponent. That's all you have to do when you combine like terms. So make sure that the numbers have the same variables and the variables have the same exponents when you guys are combining. Number 9, same idea. You guys have a 1w. Remember that if the letter doesn't have a number, it actually has an invisible 1. And then you guys have a 17w, 1 plus 17, and you're subtracting minus 3w. Now, every single term, every single number has the same variable, so they are like terms. So I am going to do the first two terms. I'm going to combine those two. 1W plus 17W, that would be 18W. Then I bring down the minus 3W, and I can keep going. Like I said, guys, you guys can combine. So 18W minus 3W, that would be 15W. You guys are subtracting. 18 minus 3 is 15, and keep the variable. So 15W will be your answer. Number 10, you guys are going to use the distributive property. Distributive property is when you multiply whatever is outside of the parentheses to whatever is inside of the parentheses. So let's look at number 10. Number 10, you guys have a fraction. Don't get scared. I'm going to show you guys how to multiply those fractions. So you guys are going to take the number outside. So here's a 20 outside of the parentheses. And you're going to distribute, you're going to multiply by what's inside. So let's go ahead and multiply first the 20 times the f. Remember, f has an invisible 1. So 20 times 1f, that is 20f. 20 times 1 is 20, and you guys keep the variable. Then you guys are going to multiply the 20 times the fraction. Now, here's one option. Here's one method to multiply fractions. I'm going to take the 20. I'm going to multiply by the top number, so 20 times 1, and I keep the denominator. You stay with the same number on the bottom, denominator. So 20 times 1, that's going to be 20, and keep the denominator. You can simplify, you can reduce, you guys can actually divide 20 by 4. So when you guys simplify, you guys are going to get 20f plus 5. So number 11, same thing. You guys want to use the distributive property, but we do have a variable, a letter outside of the parentheses. We are going to multiply that letter to what's inside of the parentheses. We're going to distribute the a. So when you guys multiply, you guys have the a, this one outside, times b. First of all, they're not the same variable, they're not the same letter. So all you can do is put them side by side. A times b will be AB. That's what you do. You guys multiply variables, you put them side by side. Then you guys are going to distribute the next one. A times the positive 7. Now here, guys, it's a number. 7 is a number times a letter. So when you guys multiply numbers times letters, same thing. You guys put them side by side, but the number always goes first. So a times 7, that's going to be positive 7a. Now, these two terms are not like terms. 7a doesn't have a b, so it is not a like term with the first term. You cannot add, you cannot do anything else. So my answer is right here. For number 12, you guys want to evaluate, but it's just a number, negative number with a square. So you guys can use the calculator. Just make sure that you guys pay attention and use parentheses. So I have a parentheses, -9, close parentheses with a square. So the answer is positive 81. Always check in the calculator that everything is the same as the problem. Make sure you guys check the signs. Make sure you guys check parentheses. And obviously, exponents have to be correct. Number 13. Now we want to determine if the relation is a function. So now we're moving on to a different concept. Here we have mapping, which means we have a bubble with the x values and a bubble with the y values. To determine if it is a function, you guys are going to look at the x values. X values in mapping can only have one arrow going out to be a function. So if you guys pay attention to the x values, one arrow is going out in the -3, one arrow is going out, one arrow is going out, one arrow is going out. So this means it is a function. Number 13, yes, it's a function. Now you might be asking, well, what about the y values? The y values don't really matter, guys. If you look at the 3, this number 3 on the y values, it has 2 arrows going in. That's okay, it's fine. The y values can repeat. The y values can have 2 arrows going in. It's fine. It's all about the x values. The x values can have only one arrow going out. So this one, it is a function because every x value has one arrow going out. Number 14, another mapping, and we want to know if it's a function. So look at the x values, and the first number, -1, has 2 arrows going out. So guess what? This is not a function. Nope, it's not a function because you guys have one number with 2 arrows going out. Everything else has 1 arrow. That's okay, but this one is not okay. It has 2 arrows, so it's not a function. No, it's not a function. For number 15, same thing. You guys want to determine if it's a function or not a function, but it's not mapping. This one is a T table or a regular table. So all we have to look at when we have a table, you look at the x values. So on one column you have the x, on the other column you guys have the y. So in the x values, x's cannot repeat. X's cannot repeat. So I'm looking at the numbers and they are not repeating. So this is a function. Yes, it is. The y values, they can, yes, they can repeat, but not the x's. X's cannot repeat, so it is a function. Number 16, another table. So I have to look at the x values, and I notice that in the x values, the value of 1 is repeating 2 times. You cannot have x values repeating. So this one is not a function. No, it's not a function. It's a relation, but it's not a function because the x values are repeating. The y values don't matter. It's all about the x values. 17 and 18 are the same thing. You guys have a list of order pairs. It's not a table, it's not mapping, but we want to know if it's a function or not. So when you guys look at those points, order pairs, it's all about the x values. So first of all, you guys have to know which one is your x. So the first number is your x value in the order pair, and the second number is the y. But you only focus on the x values. So I'm going to look at the x's. 3, second point is -4, that's your x. The next one is 5, and the last one is 2. So guess what? The numbers are not repeating. X's are not repeating. All those numbers are x's. Let me just put an x on the top, so you know that we're looking at the x values, x values, x values. Not repeating, so that means yes, is a function. Number 18, again, you guys look at the x values. So I have the 6, I have the 2, I have the -4, I have the 4, and I have a 2. Oh, I have this and this value of 2 repeating. So that number, it is repeating. The x value is repeating. So this one, no, not a function. I'm going to say no. Number 19, you guys have any question? It's not mapping, it's not a table, they're not order pairs. You guys have an equal sign, so this is an equation, and we want to know if it's a function or not. So when you guys have an equal sign equation, you guys need to tell me if it's a function or not by asking 3 different questions. So question number 1, you guys need to look if you are missing the y. So no, we're not missing the y. Second question is, does the y have a square? And guess what? It does. So we say yes for the second question. When you guys ask all 3 questions, you must say no in order to be a function. But in this case, we said yes. The second question, does the y have a square? Yes. So that means it's not a function. But I'll tell you guys the 3 questions so you guys review and know what you need to ask. So question number 1, are you missing the y? Question number 2, does the y have a square? And question number 3, does the y have absolute value? If you guys answer no, 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 then it is a function. But here we answer yes to one of the questions, so that's why we say not a function. Number 20, now they actually give us functions. We have 2 different functions. We have the function of f, we have f of x here, which is 2x minus 6, and the second function given to us, the function of g, or g of x, which is x minus 2x squared. Number 20 asks, well, what is the value of f of 4? So we have the x value, Notice that inside the parentheses, there's the x, but we have the number 4. So that's going to be my input. That is my domain, which means I'm going to plug in that number into the function. But you guys have to be careful which function you're going to use. So I do have the function of f. Notice, here's the f. So I have to use this function. So next to the 4, I'm going to have equals, and I'm going to write down the function of f, which is 2x minus 6. So notice, one more time. Here's the function, f. So I am using 2x minus 6. So the next step, you guys are going to substitute this value into every x. So we only have one x, but I'm going to substitute. So that's going to be 2 times 4 minus 6. You guys can use the calculator or order operation. You multiply first before subtraction. So 2 times 4 is 8 minus 6, which equals 2. So 21, now they want us to use the other function. The other function, g, notice the letter here. This is the name of the function, g of negative 2. So we need to pay attention to the function. I'm going to go back to show you guys the function of g. G is x minus x squared. That is the function that we need to use. So when I go back, I'm going to have x minus 2x squared. So let me write that down. Equals x minus 2x squared. That is the function of g, g of x. So now I'm going to take the number, the negative 2, and I'm going to substitute here and here. So you always substitute into every x in that function. So I'm going to use parentheses. So the first x will be parentheses with a negative 2 inside minus the 2, make parentheses with the squared, and you guys substitute the negative 2 right there. Now you guys can use the calculator. So let me get the calculator for you guys. Alright, so using the calculator, I just put the numbers in. So you guys have the negative 2 inside the parentheses. You guys see the expression in the calculator. So you guys are going to use you can use the calculator. Just make sure you check your exponents, check your signs, check your parentheses. And my answer is negative 10. So let me just go back to the problem over here. And my answer is negative 10. Always be careful with the functions. Sometimes you are going to use the function of f of g, and sometimes you're going to use g of x. So make sure you guys pay attention to the function. Number 22 is a little bit different because they give you guys the function f of 9. So we need to use the function of f, but it says we're going to have to subtract the 5. So first, let's go back and understand what is the function of f. So the function of f is 2x minus 6. That's what you guys are using. The function is 2x minus 6. So when you guys go back over here, you are going to start by writing the function of f. So this function right here is going to be 2x minus 6. Then you guys are going to bring down the minus 5. So the number at the end, you just bring it down. I'm going to put the minus 5 right here. The next step is we do have an x. You guys have an x next to the 2. So I am going to substitute. I'm going to take this number, the 9, and I'm going to substitute into the x right there. So I'm going to have 2 parentheses with the 9 minus the 6 minus the 5. So you guys can use the calculator, or you guys can do this by hand. If you multiply 2 times 9, that's going to be 18 minus 6 minus 5. And if you guys subtract 18 minus 6, that's going to be 12 minus 5. And 12 minus 5 is 7. But if you guys want to use the calculator, you guys can use decimals. You guys go here, and using the calculator, I'm just going to show you guys. You input 2 parentheses 9 minus 6 minus 5. So I'm looking right here. I'm looking at this expression. So you put that in the calculator, and the answer is 7. So we got the answer for number 22. And the last one for this video, number 23. You guys want to simplify. Notice that we have different variables, different terms, and we want to combine like terms. So combining like terms, you always look at the numbers that have the same variable. So I do have the same variables. First, let's look at the A's, because alphabetical order, A is before the B. So I'm going to look at the A's. 17A plus 11A, they have the same letter, so I am able to combine those two. So you add the numbers, 17 plus 11, that's going to be 28. I'll put it on the side, so let me just put an arrow, 28, and keep the variable. Then you guys are going to look at the B's. So for the B's, I have the 28B minus a 4B. So now I'm looking at the red bubble. So 28 minus 4, that's going to be a positive 24, and keep the variable B. You guys keep the variable. That's combining like terms. You're combining the B's and you're combining the A's. So when you guys compare, this is kind of like it is a multiple choice question. So option B right here, 28A plus 24B, that is your answer. All right, guys, so we concluded our test review. You guys need to review. You guys need to make sure you read the questions, read the notes, and get ready, get prepared for the test. If you guys like my videos, you guys can click that like button, and you guys can subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys later.